The hammer on GTFO have always been a thing that people love to death, and with the addition of new melees on 1.0 they had changed it a little bit. And for the most part, it's a good change. We can begin with the removal of occiput on hammer, which angered a lot of people, and that makes sense. We've been playing with hammer for the 2 years of early access, but the change itself makes sense. Let's assume you're the game designer at 10 Chambers and you see, just for the sake of example, that 10% of your player base is doing occiputs and all this crazy shit, while the other 90% of your player base and the new people who are trying to get in are just struggling with it. So you sit down and make the best decision you could make to casualize the game. You add new melees with different playstyles and streamline the stealth section by fixing the distribution bug. And now what does that have everything to do with Oxy? Because there needs to be a balance. Why add all these other melees if hammer is the best thing at everything? Even if the other melees will offer a new playstyle and something fresh, why bother with it? If occiput remain, it will have similar speed to knife, so why bring knife? And that's just me talking about stealth. The reality of hammer now is more down to earth and on par with the other melees that they added. Big cluster of 3 or more enemies are something you need to consider before engaging, and the changes they made to streamline stealth as a whole helps new players, since now if they bring a hammer they don't have to worry about back damage, which is obviously a really obscure mechanic when you're starting out on the game. So now stealth rewards more bravery and teamwork than, you going out of your way and try to find, the best back damage positioning thing. The new dynamic of stealth is honestly a lot more fun now. You can have the knife guy progressively clearing the room of smalls, while the other people deal with giants. And you can bat people to death now, which is hilarious. Like, it's just way more fun than it needs to be. But anyway, let's go to the melee part. Let's do kiting a little bit. Another big hit that melees took came in the form of anti-kiting measures, which added 2 things: stamina and enemy collision with players. Now, stamina is just there to stop you from doing it forever. As you can see from the old footage here, you can pretty much take over the world with how we used to play. If you slap the stamina system on top of it, it wouldn't be as efficient, since it doesn't stop me from doing the same thing, apart from forcing me to go to a part of the map where I could just take a 5-second break in between maxing out my stamina. Now, the real anti-kiting measure here is the enemy collision, because you cannot run through anything without slowing down a little bit unless you slide or jump at the exact time. And this varies from enemy to enemy, so if you try to run through a giant, it's gonna be like a slap on the face, just a stop sign right in front of you, and you're gonna get hit unless he staggers. All these changes combined make an enemy that we used to consider just trash pretty damn dangerous. Now you cannot really take an entire wave head on. You mostly want to isolate the fight if you're a spawn cap. You kill the faster sleepers, then the shooters, or shooters first because fuck shooters, and progressively thin out the wave. So all tactics don't work and pretty much forces you to shoot. So they didn't remove kiting at all. They just stopped kiting from being the get out of jail free card that it was before. Just long kiting every time 1 or 2 teammates got clapped by a striker. And this change, they made these changes so it cannot be abused. You can still do it, but now you need to think twice before long kiting. So, in conclusion, what I can gather from my experience playing with the new stamina melee system is that they just made melee only viable for small fights. Like, you cannot really just push and disrespect every single sleeper type in the game by just running around anymore. Of course, there are some things that I just don't like at all, like some really minute things, like the remove of dodge, for example. Like, I've actually used dodge a lot in gunfights rather than kiting, surprisingly enough. When we used to have combat shotty, I will be using that to dodge while I'm shooting at the sleepers in front of me. And it was really useful, but now they just remove it. Like, I just don't understand why, since it was such a small thing that didn't affect anything. And of course, with everything there comes bugs, like for example, like Spear being able to multi-kill, and they fixed that, but now we don't have penetration on Spear, which is kind of weird, and back damage being completely broken, being a dice roll pretty much if you were gonna kill the charger or not, like just completely unreliable, which is stupid. And that's all I could gather from the changes that they have done. So yeah, thank you for watching.